Most people fail, not because they're weak, not because they're stupid, not because life is unfair. Most people fail because they surrender to the silent voice inside that whispers, "You're not enough." That voice isn't loud. It doesn't shout. It waits. It waits until you're alone. Until your dreams feel far away and your energy is low. And then, it sinks its teeth into your mind like a parasite. You were not born to be average. You were not designed to live and die in quiet desperation. But look around, mediocrity is the default. Everywhere you go, people sleepwalk through life, stuck in jobs they hate, addicted to distractions, hiding behind excuses, terrified to be great. Why? Because greatness has a cost. And most people aren't willing to pay it. Thomas Edison failed over 10,000 times before creating the light bulb. Walt Disney was fired for lacking imagination. Henry Ford went bankrupt 5 times before revolutionizing the world. Do you think these men were lucky? No. They were obsessed. They were relentless. They were on fire with a vision so big it made failure irrelevant. But most people? They stop at the first no. They get rejected once, and they crumble. They try something hard, and when it doesn't work in the first week, they run back to comfort like a child clinging to a blanket. They fail because their desire is a flicker, not a furnace. You want to know why most people fail? Because they treat their dreams like hobbies. Because they wait for motivation. Because they think discipline is optional. They scroll more than they study. They talk more than they act. They wish more than they work. And that's why the top 1% of people always rise. Because while the masses are busy doubting themselves, the few are busy building. While most are hoping the world gives them a break, the few are breaking limits. This isn't about luck. It's about law. The law of cause and effect. You sow apathy, you reap regret. You sow focus, discipline, sacrifice, you reap power. Influence. Freedom. But the seed starts in the mind. The battlefield of failure and success is invisible. It's the space between your ears. Every decision you make is either killing your future or building it. There is no neutral ground. Every morning you hit snooze, you're choosing average. Every time you scroll instead of study, you're choosing comfort over legacy. Every excuse, every delay, every rationalization, you're building a wall between you and who you were born to become. Not the man with the best plan. Not the smartest man in the room. Not the richest or most connected. The one with the belief. The faith. The internal fire that says, I will. I must. I cannot fail because I will never stop trying. Belief isn't some fluffy, abstract concept. It's the engine that drives action when motivation is gone. It's the fuel that keeps you moving when the world doubts you. It's what kept Lincoln pushing through over 30 political defeats before becoming president. It's what kept Oprah climbing from childhood abuse and poverty to building a media empire. You see, the ones who rise? They don't wait for evidence to believe. They believe before the evidence exists. That's the difference. That's the code. Most people want proof before they act. But the successful act before there's any proof, and in doing so, they create the proof. That's why you must guard your mind like your life depends on it, because it does. Your thoughts are architects. They're drawing blueprints for your future with every passing second. Let doubt draw your plans, and you'll build a prison. Let belief draw your plans, and you'll build a kingdom. But belief without clarity is like fire without direction, it burns everything in sight but leads nowhere. You must know why you're here. Why you wake up. Why you sacrifice. Why you refuse to quit when the world tries to break you. That why, that clear, personal, unshakable purpose is what separates the few who conquer life from the many who are conquered by it. Do not expect life to hand it to you. Purpose is not found, it is forged. In silence. In struggle. In sweat. You discover it by doing. By failing. By listening to that deep, inner whisper that says, this is what I was born to do. Most people silence that voice. They drown it in Netflix, in social media, in comfort, in distractions. But if you want to rise, if you want to never be one of the broken and forgotten, then you must go toward the discomfort. You must chase the voice inside until it becomes a roar. Because failure is not falling down. It's staying down when you had the strength to rise. Discipline is the sword that cuts through failure. It's not sexy. It's not glamorous. It doesn't get applause. But it's the invisible force behind every great life. Most people treat discipline like a punishment. The greats treat it like freedom. Because discipline is freedom. Freedom from chaos. Freedom from mediocrity. Freedom from the pain of regret. Muhammad Ali said, "I hated every minute of training, but I said, don't quit. Suffer now and live the rest of your life as a champion." Ali understood what most never grasp: pain is temporary, regret is forever. The pain of discipline weighs ounces. The pain of regret weighs tons. But most people would rather carry the unbearable burden of what could have been than endure the momentary sting of doing the hard thing now. That's why most people lose. They run from the pain. But pain is the path. It's the fire that forges the strongest steel. The successful don't avoid it, they seek it. Because they know that beyond pain is growth. Beyond growth is transformation. And beyond transformation is freedom. You will never be free until you've disciplined your mind. Because the undisciplined mind is a slave to emotion. It's addicted to instant gratification. It's reactive. Chaotic. Unreliable. But the disciplined mind? It's sharp. Steady. Strategic. It does not negotiate with weakness. It commands itself. You must become the commander of your life. Not a wanderer. Not a drifter. Not a puppet pulled by circumstance. But a warrior of will. That's how Ford built an empire when others called him insane. That's how Carnegie rose from nothing to become one of the richest men in history. They weren't smarter. They weren't more talented. They were more driven. More disciplined. More clear. Clarity is power. Most people fail because they don't even know what they truly want. They chase shadows. They pursue goals that aren't theirs. They try to live up to the expectations of people who are lost themselves. And so they build someone else's dream and wonder why they feel dead inside. You must ask yourself, with raw honesty, what do I want truly, deeply, relentlessly? Strip away the noise. The fear. The conditioning. What do you want? Not what your parents expect. Not what society glorifies. Not what seems safe or reasonable. But what sets your soul on fire? What vision, if realized, would make all the pain worth it? That vision is not random. It is a glimpse into your highest potential. It is the compass buried inside you since birth. Ignore it, and you'll wander for life. Follow it, and the path will reveal itself, not all at once, but step by step. But make no mistake, the path will not be easy. The road to greatness is littered with the wreckage of those who had potential, but no persistence. People who could have been extraordinary, if only they stayed the course. If only they believed a little longer. Worked a little harder. Sacrificed a little more. The truth is, your success is inevitable if you refuse to quit. But most people quit. They quit when it gets hard. They quit when it gets slow. They quit when it gets boring. Because they've been trained to expect everything instantly. Fast food. Fast internet. Fast success. But greatness is never instant. It's earned in years. In silence. In solitude. In the moments no one sees, but that define everything. You want to know how to never be one of the failures? Outlast them. Stay when others leave. Push when others pause. Focus when others are distracted. Because the game doesn't go to the most talented. It goes to the most committed. The world doesn't need more people with potential. It needs more people with follow-through. More people who finish what they start. More people who are obsessed with becoming who they were born to be. So make this decision right now. To burn the bridge to your excuses. To close the door to your past. To become unavailable to weakness. And married to your mission. Because if you don't live your dream, you'll spend your life watching someone else live theirs. If you don't command your mind, someone else will. But if you do, if you train your thoughts like a soldier, if you choose purpose over pleasure, grit over comfort, vision over validation, then nothing in this world can stop you. Not failure. Not fear. Not your past. Not your circumstances. Because the man or woman who refuses to quit is a force of nature. And nature always finds a way. Most people spend their lives reacting to bills, to opinions, to problems. They live in defense mode, constantly surviving, never creating. But you weren't made to react. You were made to create. You were made to bend reality to your will, not let it bend you. To create, you must stop waiting. Waiting for permission. Waiting for perfect timing. Waiting to feel ready. You will never feel ready. Because readiness is a myth sold by comfort addicts. The greatest empires in history weren't built by people who were ready. They were built by people who decided. People who dared to move before they were fully prepared. They stepped into the unknown and figured it out on the way down. That's how the Wright brothers learned to fly. That's how Steve Jobs changed the world. That's how anyone who's ever left a legacy started, by starting. And still, most people never take the first step. Why? Because of fear. Fear of failure. Fear of judgment. Fear of standing out. But fear is not your enemy. Fear is the compass. It's the signal that says, this is the edge of your comfort zone. Cross it. Fear means you're facing something that matters. Something real. And the only way to kill fear is to face it. Action is the antidote to fear. Massive, focused, relentless action. Not talking. Not planning. Not dreaming. Doing. You don't need more information. You don't need more time. You need more courage. Because at the root of all success is courage. The courage to try when you might fail. The courage to speak when you might be silenced. The courage to move when your legs are shaking. But if you want to never be one of the ones who failed, then don't wait until the fear is gone. Move through the fear until it has no power over you. And when you move, move with intensity. Half-hearted effort brings half-hearted results. There's no breakthrough in maybe. There's no glory in I'll try. There is only do. Only commit. Only all in. You want to live like the greats? Then stop dipping your toes in the water. Burn the boats. Make retreat impossible. Decide that no matter how long it takes, no matter how hard it gets, you will finish what you started. Because most people quit not at the beginning, but right before the breakthrough. They were inches away. But they stopped digging. They walked away. And they will never know how close they truly were. That cannot be your story. Let others quit. Let others stay comfortable. Let others laugh and doubt and delay. But you keep digging. You keep going. You keep rising. Because the world doesn't remember the almosts. It doesn't remember the ones who almost succeeded. It remembers the ones who finished. The ones who refused to die with their dreams still inside them. This is your moment. Right now. To rise above the noise. To step into the fire. To become who you really are, not who the world told you to be. But that version of you? That higher self? That beast, that king, that queen inside? It does not come alive by chance. It is summoned by standards. You want to change your life? Raise your standards. Raise what you tolerate. Raise what you expect from yourself. Don't try to be better than others. Be better than the man or woman you were yesterday. Make that your obsession. Make growth your addiction. Wake up and demand more from yourself. More focus. More energy. more commitment, more fire. And don't just want success, expect it. Walk like it's already yours. Talk like you've already won. Move like a person with certainty in their bones. Because certainty creates momentum. And momentum creates miracles. You are not here to crawl through life. You are here to build. To climb. To conquer. You are here to show the world what happens when a soul refuses to surrender. So decide now that no matter what comes, doubt, failure, betrayal, fear, you will keep building. Brick by brick. Day by day. Thought by thought. You will build a mind so strong, failure bounces off it. A will so powerful, obstacles melt in its path. A vision so clear, not even time can blur it. And when people ask how you did it, how you broke through, how you rose while others stayed stuck, you'll look them in the eye and say, because I refuse to be one of the ones who failed. Gratitude. Most overlook it. They think it's soft, passive. They confuse it with complacency. But gratitude, true gratitude, is fuel for warriors. While most people fail because they focus on what they lack, the rare few rise because they magnify what they already have. Not in a naive way. Not pretending everything is perfect. But by using gratitude as a weapon against weakness. Because when you stop complaining, you start creating. When you stop focusing on what's missing, you start moving toward what's possible. Every breath you take is a second chance. Every sunrise is an invitation to begin again. Every setback is raw material for a comeback. But most don't see that because they're too busy comparing. Scrolling through filtered lives, envying what they don't understand. Comparison is the thief of power. It convinces you to measure your progress by someone else's path. It distracts you from your own mission. And the more you compare, the less you create. You were never meant to follow someone else's blueprint. You were meant to carve your own into stone with blood, sweat, and belief. So drop the comparisons. Drop the entitlement. Drop the victim mindset. You don't need a perfect past. You don't need approval. You don't need everything to make sense. You need gratitude. You need vision. You need grit. Gratitude grounds you in the now. Vision pulls you into the future. And grit carries you through every storm in between. There will be storms. You will be tested. You will face betrayal, heartbreak, loss. And every time you do, life will ask you one question. Will you rise or will you retreat? Most people retreat. They tell themselves, it's not worth it. Maybe it's just not meant to be. Maybe I should lower my standards. But champions don't lower the mountain, they raise their legs. They don't ask for it to be easier, they demand that they grow stronger. Life is going to test you. It's going to shake you, break you, stretch you. Not to destroy you, but to reveal you. To see what you're made of. To expose the steel in your soul. To show you just how far you're willing to go for what you say you want. And that's when most people fail. Not because they couldn't succeed, but because they weren't willing to endure the process. They wanted the result, but not the resistance. The victory, but not the violence of the climb. But you are different. You know that pressure builds diamonds. You know that storms create strength. You know that every great story begins with a trial and the hero rising through it. So don't run from the hardship. Run toward it. Because it's carving you into someone who can handle the very thing you asked for. Your dream requires a version of you that does not yet exist. But it will if you don't give up on the days that feel impossible. You want to never be one of the ones who failed? Then keep moving, especially on the days when nothing makes sense. Those are the days that shape you. Those are the moments that define you. And when it gets dark, when you feel lost, broken, exhausted, remember this. Clarity comes through motion. Strength comes through struggle. Transformation comes through pressure. Most people seek comfort. But comfort is the coffin of greatness. It's where ambition goes to die. So kill comfort before it kills your calling. Choose discomfort. Choose risk. Choose the path where you might fall, but if you rise, you'll rise unrecognizable. Every morning, ask yourself, am I moving closer to my highest self, or betraying it? Am I feeding my future, or my fear? Am I living like this is my only shot, or like I've got forever? Because you don't. You don't have forever. You have now. And now is enough if you move. So move. Decide. Act. Rise. Create. Command. Build. Become. Don't join the millions who failed because they were too busy avoiding pain, pleasing others, or waiting for the stars to align. Instead, become one of the few. One of the rare. One of the unshakable. One of the relentless. One of the ones who refuse to fail. Because when your vision is clear, your standards are high, your mind is trained, and your soul is anchored in purpose, failure can't find you. It may knock. But you won't answer. Because you've already left to chase your destiny. One day, this life will end. One day, your name will be carved into stone. And the only thing that will matter, the only thing, is who you became, what you built, and what you left behind. Will you leave behind excuses? Or will you leave behind impact? Will you die full of potential, or empty because you poured every drop of yourself into your purpose? Most people fail because they never ask this question. They live like they have unlimited time. Like they can afford to waste another year, another decade, another life. But not you. You are done waiting. You are done drifting. You are done playing small to make other people comfortable. From this day forward, you walk like you're on assignment. You speak like your words shape reality. You act like every moment is a brick in the legacy you're building. You no longer live on default. You live on design. No more blaming. No more wishing. No more shrinking your power to fit into a world that fears its own reflection. Because now, you remember who you are. Not the version beaten down by doubt. Not the version chained to the past. But the version that was always there waiting to be unleashed. You are the storm they never saw coming. The warrior with fire in your lungs and steel in your spine. The soul forged in pain, but raised by purpose. You are the one who breaks the cycle. Who rewrites the script. Who turns wounds into wisdom and setbacks into fuel. The world will try to pull you back. It will tempt you with comfort, seduce you with distractions, bury you in noise. But you will not bend. You will not break. Because you've made the decision most people never make. The decision to become unstoppable. You see, most people fail because they live for validation. They measure their worth by likes, approval, applause. But when you own your mission, none of that matters. You don't need validation when you walk in conviction. You don't need permission when you're guided by vision. You don't need applause when you've already decided to win.